What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rugged Adventures. Today, we're going to take a look at the 300 Blackout and how it compares to the typical 5.56 that's shot out of every single AR-15. Now, the 300 Blackout has arguably one of the coolest bullet names that is out there. It's just pretty sweet, 300 Blackout. But that's not the only thing that makes it kind of an awesome round if you use it for what it's meant for. It's not going to stack up against the 5.56 in a lot of different ways, such as velocity, range, terminal muzzle energy, but it does have some benefits. The biggest benefit is that it essentially uses the AR-15 platform with the 5.56 style of everything, with only needing to change the barrel or the upper if you just have the whole thing there. In order to fire this, it uses the same magazines as an AR-15, M16, M4. It uses basically all the same platform pieces, but it also excels in subsonics and supersonics, whereas with this rifle, with it being really long as it is and being set up for that 5.56 cartridge with that really small bullet on the end, it is not able to fire subsonics and cycle, whereas one of these in 300 Blackout, one of its biggest advantages, you can stack subsonics and supersonics if you wanted to for whatever reason. In the same magazine, it would run no problem all day long, and that's one of the reasons why this is so great. Another thing is that the 300 Blackout can achieve maximum velocity in a relatively short barrel, like this 8.5-inch short barrel rifle that we have here. Whereas for the 5.56, even a 16-inch barrel like this really doesn't get it to its maximum velocity. And so today we're going to take a look at how these two compare in penetrating different items. Just like the last time, we have our 8x4x16 solid concrete blocks, 1/4-inch plate steel. I got a brand new piece of 3/8 plate steel, and this is our 1/2-inch. And then just like last time, we also have our 1x1x1 wooden block down there. And if there's one thing I can say is that the 5.56 is probably going to wipe the floor with the 300 Blackout in the steel targets. But we saw last week or two that the 7.62x39 penetrated and destroyed softer targets like wood and concrete far better than the 5.56 was able to penetrate the steel targets. So we're going to see if it is the same today. First up, we have our solid chunk of wood down there. I'm going to use the 300 Blackout in the upper right and the 5.56 in the lower left. We'll see if this one punches through just like the AK did or not. The last time the 5.56 did get caught, I can't remember, it was like 7 or 8 pieces in, and we'll just take a look, see what happens. And now for the 5.56, I'll kind of put this in the middle since our block is sort of edged away from us. Help if I put it on fire. And let's go down and see if either one of these went through. This one took a little detective work. It wasn't as simple as all the rest of them. This is our entrance right here, and you can see these fleches from the other from the exotic shotgun weapons in there still. There's another one there, but this is the second layer where it goes into there, and you can see it come out here. The third layer, and this thing is sort of starting to get filled up with a bunch of bullet holes, and it comes out there. Then it goes in here for the fourth layer, and then it starts tumbling really bad after the fourth layer. You can see here where it's kind of blown out, and it's starting to tumble into this fifth layer right here. Now this is where things kind of got weird, because this is the sixth layer, and you think that that might be it right there, but it looks old, and I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that on camera. But then when you start looking here, this is the backside of that fifth layer, and you can see it's all blown out down to here to this brand new shell that is right in here, and that is your 300 Blackout shell or bullet. It did not looks like it deformed in any way, but it did start tumbling after the 1, 2, 3, 4th layer, and ended up tumbling into the 5th layer, and that's definitely different than an AK-47 bullet. Now the AR-15 on the other hand ended up, and it has fallen out, but it ended up in the board just like that, facing this way. So it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it ended up tumbling, and you can see where its hole is here where it was tumbling, and ended up into, or no, it's right down here, into the 6th board facing the wrong direction, which 5.56 is very well known for tumbling once it gets into an object and starts banging around. So in this particular one, the 5.56 wins over the 300 Blackout, going really just like a quarter of an inch or a half an inch farther into our giant wood block. I was thinking that one of the biggest takeaways of that test was that both rounds left 100% of their energy in the target, and that's a good thing if you're shooting something, to put all the energy of that bullet in the target without it coming out. But next up is our concrete block test, and I have stacked 2 of those concrete blocks for either caliber. So we have 8 inches thick of concrete. They're directly against each other, so it should be almost exactly 8 inches thick. We'll shoot the 300 Blackout on the left, 5.56 on the right, and then we'll go take a look at it. Looks like we punched a hole. It did not crack it. I think that the AK-47 actually cracked it on the first shot, but we can check the tape on that. And it looks like the same thing with the 5.56, maybe a little bit bigger crater, but did not crack it. So at first glance, these look like they may be about identical, with actually the 300 Blackout not penetrating as deep as the 5.56 did. You can still see the 300 Blackout shell in there. I think you can anyway on camera. But when you take a closer look at these things, you'll see that the 300 Blackout actually did a little bit more damage, because on this 5.56 shot, there is no cracking whatsoever of the sides, and it didn't come out the back at all. Whereas on this 300 Blackout, and I hope that this camera picks it up, there is a crack right there that goes all the way around to the back. It did not blow out anything on the back, but you can see there, I hope you guys can anyway, that crack that goes around the back. So at least on the initial 300 Blackout shot, it looks like it has a very slight edge over the 5.56. And I attribute that probably to the much larger frontal area of the bullet being able to just put more of that energy into a larger area, even though the 5.56 has a much higher velocity and it has higher energy by like 300 or 400 feet-pounds. Now that we've seen what one will do, let's see how many it takes to get through the entire thing. We've already put 1 on each of them. Count along with me, because I always end up losing my count. 2 broke it in half. 3. Say 6 and 7 for good measure to completely chew 2 of those in half. Now granted, the one fell down on top of it. That's just kind of the non-scientific part of just shooting these things out in the middle of the country. Now with the 5.56. So we've got 1 in it. 2, kind of hit left. 3. Yeah, 7 probably cracked it in half. So about the same amount for both of those. Now for the main event, we have our 1/4 inch and 3/8 steel plates down there. They're not AR 500, they're just mild steel. So these should be able to get through it, at least the 5.56 will. I am very skeptical that the 300 Blackout is even going to make it through the 1/4 inch with the way that it performed today and just how it is in general. So we will start out with the 300 Blackout. And we had some holes already in our 1/4 inch plate, so I painted those white. We'll see how this does. I'm not sure if that went through, but I'm just going to go ahead and shoot the 3/8 plate as well. So a real disappointing showing for the 300 Blackout. There is our impact point. This is 1/4 inch mild steel. This isn't AR 500. It's got a little bulge on the back, but could not even make it through a 1/4 inch steel plate. Where we hit it on this 3/8 right here, you can see where the bullet disintegrated and splashed all over the place. Hardly even made a dent. It's, you know, maybe 1/2 millimeter, if that. And really didn't even bulge out the back of this plate at all. Just kind of blew off that, whatever that patina is that steel gets on it. That might, I mean, it's not rust. I don't know if it's some sort of coating or what. But just for the sake of this video, we'll go ahead and pop it with the 5.56 in case you didn't see the 5.56 versus AK-47 7.62x39. I'll put a link up here so that you guys can watch that. Now for America's cartridge, the 5.56. In the 1/4 inch, I hit it in an old hole, but now the 3/8, and we'll go take a look at what we did. So as you guys can see here, the 5.56 absolutely ate this thing up, no problem. Punched through it like a hole punch. I mean, even the backside of the holes, these were our 3 old ones, these are our new ones, are just punched straight out. That is our 300 Blackout attempt to get through this measly little 1/4-inch plate. Now on our 3/8 plate here, apparently in the slow-mo, you'll probably see it, I must have hit the brick. So I went back up and I shot it again. Remember, this is our 300 Blackout impact point. This is our 5.56. Now, it didn't go through. This was just standard 55 grain, full metal jacket, ball ammo, nothing special, no green tips, nothing like that. But on the back side of here, you can see the dimple that it made versus the 300 Blackout that really didn't do much of anything. And so in this case, for shooting through steel, armor, whatever you want to call it, the 5.56 has an absolute advantage because of its velocity, and velocity is always going to trump mass for the most part when you are shooting at hardened targets like armor or steel. So to recap, the 5.56 definitely won the shooting through wood test by just, you know, 1/4 or even 1/2 inch, and left all of its energy in the target just like the 300 Blackout did. On the concrete test, I have to give the edge to the 300 Blackout because although they sort of did the same amount of damage, the 300 Blackout with its much larger frontal area was able to crack the brick more than the 5.56. But when we started shooting at it rapid fire to destroy the whole wall, we ended up with about the same results. On the steel test, it is no contest whatsoever, exactly as I thought that it would be, in that the 5.56 absolutely wiped the floor with the 300 Blackout. So guys, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Really helps this channel out. We are at 1 million views and only 4,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe down below so that you don't miss out anything that I put out in the future. I appreciate you guys watching today, and I'll see you in the next one.